this class. We started 3 weeks ago, and the first week we started with the introduction to big data, where we looked at the elements of big data, what exactly big data is, and the different applications of big data. And then from there we moved to the technologies for handling big data, where we spend time extensively talking about parallel computing and distributed computing, and we also try to differentiate between parallel computing and distributed computing. We also spent time to talk about virtualization. I think we are also going to be demonstrating a little bit of virtualization in this class this afternoon. Then also, so last week, Friday and Saturday, we now went straight into the Hadoop framework itself, where we started with the HDFS architecture. We talked about name node, we talked about we talked about data node, we talked about map reduce, we talked about yarn, and then there are some other elements of the Hadoop framework which we did not conclude on last week. So hopefully we should be able to complete those stuff this week. But this afternoon, as I promised you last week, we are going to be having some practical session. So from your lab book, if you open to your lab book, page number 1 to, we'll try and just rush to page number 1 to 19. But it's not like we are going to rush through it like that. So it's for the first lab work that is in that material. There are things that we can just quickly read off. So for the first lab work, which has to do with that's page 1. Yeah, that's page 1. On page 1, you have identifying big data solutions. So I think there's a particular work there that we are supposed to do, and it has to do with demonstrating the use of big data in marketing and advertising. So in this session, we actually learned about big data and how it helps big companies to identify customer needs and customer behavior and the diversity of customers across different portfolios. So in today's competitive environment, now I'm on the background for the work that we're supposed to do today. In today's competitive environment, just a minute. Well, is there an issue? You are not connecting. Okay, don't worry. Thank you. Thanks. Don't worry. I'll manage this PC. This one can connect. Okay, so in today's competitive environment, organizations have to they compete by attracting customers for their product and their services using different techniques. Techniques like companies have to set up a billboard, companies have to do radio advert, companies have to do TV adverts, and this is because success and productivity depends on promotion techniques. And one of the following is this is because success and productivity depends on what promotion technique it's following to meet the customer's demand. So if you have a product, you have a fantastic product, if the customer is not aware of the product, then it's as good as not having a product at all. I think I had a session with some people earlier this morning where we had that discussion about even Octave Analytics compared to some other companies that do training. We don't do as much advertising as they do, and if you check the content of our trainings, they are quite huge, and most of these companies, their trainings are not practical, they are not hands-on the way we do it, and some of those trainings, they are half knowledge. And one way I try to relate that, how I relate not going for training in a company that will just give you half knowledge is, we once had a POC with a company, and so that company wanted to test whether Octave Analytics can deliver, because then we were relatively unknown in the market. So the company requested that Octave Analytics should do a proof of concept. But at the same time, KPMG was also supposed to do a POC. So KPMG was supposed to do a POC alongside with us. So they set the decks for us in their office. This is Octave Analytics. This is KPMG. The POC was supposed to last for 2 months. At the end of the second month, KPMG team could not even connect to the data sources. They couldn't connect to the data sources, while Octave Analytics delivered in those 2 months. So at the end of the day, they asked KPMG to go. And I met the senior manager in KPMG then. The guy was really worried, like, how can his team, that those guys they're very smart guys, that he assessed those guys by himself. The only challenge those guys had was that they were good in Python programming, they could do SQL programming, but they did not learn networking. So because they did not learn networking, the networking skill limited them from assessing where the data source was, and because of that, they could not access the data. And if you cannot access the data, every other knowledge that you have is completely not going to work. So marketing, it's going to give you that visibility. It's going to let the market know about you. If there's no marketing, you might have a whole lot of skill and nobody gets to know about it. So how do companies do marketing? They do advertising using papers and pamphlets. There are flyers. Companies have to print flyers. There is radio advert, there's TV advert, there's internet adverts, and so on and so forth. So organizations follow these promotional techniques to attract customers in order to increase their brand awareness. However, these limited techniques do not adopt the segmentation of customer on the basis of actual requirements. So now this is a problem. This is a problem for the class, and we are going to be discussing this. So everybody in this class is going to be discussing this. Temilade, Ekwi, Fatima, Ayomide, I need your contribution in this. So now, here's a problem. The problem is that we need to brainstorm and find solution in the context of the preceding scenario, and this is the scenario. A coffee chain, Cool Cafe, has come up with a coffee variety that they plan to target to prospective customers between age 18 and age 25. The key selling point of this coffee will be that this is not only to be enjoyed as a beverage, but it has health benefits that increases the body energy level. Hence, new brand of coffee needs to be targeted at college-going or freshly recruited youngsters who are health conscious. Now, we need to identify the method by which advertisers or organization can reach this specific target audience online and track the prospective customer across the web using big data. So how would Cool Cafe target these 18 to 25 college-going, freshly recruited youngsters who are health conscious and who love coffee? How would this company go about targeting this set of customers on the web? So that is the discussion, and it's open. So who is going to bear the cart for us? Who is going to take the lead for us on this? It's a very interesting question, and I think it affects every one of us. So I need someone to take the lead on this. Same like you were disconnected when I read out the problem statement, but I think Ayomide, you heard me. So could you please take on that for us? Hello.
Yes, hello.
Blessing, I can hear you.
Okay, great. Okay, great. Ayomide, can you hear me?
What page is this? Please help me. Why are you laughing?
Ayomide, can you hear me? Okay, I think Ayomide, it's not there. Equi, of course, you had the problem statement.
Yes, I did. I had the problem statement. I'm still thinking of my answer.
Oh, okay. So, okay. Equi is still thinking about her answer. Lab work, big data analytics. So someone is asking me which page am I reading from? I'm reading from the third textbook. That is the workbook, big data analytics lab work, and I read the page 2. Yeah, so I just read out the page 2. So page 2 had a background, and the background is about advertising, how companies need to attract customers, how companies need to like get that visibility and brand mention, and for companies to be able to do that, companies have to like print paper flyers, have to do banners, roll up banners, billboards, TV advert, radio advert, and then there is also internet advert that companies have to do. Now, the problem statement is that there's a new company. That new company is called Cool Cafe, or it's a chain of companies. It's called Cool Cafe. They came up with a new product, and with that new product, they intend to target 18 to 25-year-olds, young, freshly recruited youngsters or college-going students who are health conscious and who are interested in coffee. So we need to identify the method which the organization can reach this specific target audience online and track their prospective customer using the web or across the web using big data. So how do you think this company, Cool Cafe, that just came up with a new product and intends to target 18 to 25-year-old audience, how do you think they can go about reaching this particular target audience? It's a very simple question, and I wish somebody would just take it on.
Okay, Blessing, let me try.
Please go on.
Okay, so I think for people within those that age range, 18 to 25, I might be wrong in case there's anybody in this class that is within that age range. But my perspective, so let me just start with a disclaimer. But my perspective really is that for people within that age range, they are young, and the tendency is that they like flashy things. I don't think they have so much attention span. So if you're going to go on advertising to them, it must be something that catches their fancy almost immediately. You can't be selling what you have, say, 2 minutes into your advert. It's like, for me, the first 10 seconds or the 10-15 seconds actually matters. If you can't get their attention in the first 15 seconds of your adverts, then you probably will lose them. So, and a lot of them are on social media. They are on, so you must have that presence or sort of advertise on the most interesting social media platform that you have, be it Instagram, be it TikTok, be it Twitter. So these are the places where you would you tend to see people in that age range, a lot of them in that age range. So they can come up with probably hashtags on Twitter. They can come up with sponsored ads on Instagram, for instance. And some of these advertisements can be probably where you're asking questions about what's most important to you right now. Is it your health? Is it how much money you have in the bank? And maybe based on the information that it might be something that they just have to press 1 or 2 clicks, and we're getting information about these people, and I think that for something, I might be wrong, but I think something like Instagram, Facebook, you have had to put your date of birth at some point when you were logging on or registering on those platforms. So I think that information would also play an important role in knowing your target audience. So that's, I don't know if I've answered the question.
Thank you, Ekwe. Of course, that's a very, very valid contribution, and that is related to the answers that is expected for that question. I have my own answers too. There is no straight answer to the question. Again, the question is that what method do you need to identify, or do you need to adopt to identify the specific target audience? We have a new coffee brand. We want to target between age 18 to 25. What Ekwe said to us is that by the time you are setting up your account on Instagram or LinkedIn or Facebook or wherever, you must have set your date of birth. So based on your date of birth, you'll be able to tell your age range. So if the company is going to be targeting anybody, they would know exactly who to target from that platform. Yeah, so interesting. Thank you. But let's make it, let's hear other people's view. Temilade, what do you think? How do we target? We have a new product. It's a coffee product. How do we target people who are college going or newly recruited, health conscious youngsters, between age 18 and 25 for this coffee product that we just launched?
So I think that Ekwe has said a lot of the things that I would have said, especially with regards to focusing on social media, on putting your products on social media. Then I think that apart from putting your product on social media or using social media as an advertising tool, um, I think that you can also employ, or I think that Cool Cafe can also employ social media analytics to understand how to understand how their products might do, or to understand their target audience. So they can use social media analytics, for instance, to know the best time of the day to post, or the time of the day that gets them their highest engagement, so that they can post on that day. They can also do so I think, yeah, since that's the age range, and if you are going to be specific about social media products to use, I think that a platform like TikTok might be really nice, but it means that all the content that will be put on TikTok will be geared towards what people on TikTok will be interested in seeing. So I think that that's what I would have done if I were to do that.
Okay, thanks a lot, Temi. Ayomide, any contribution from you on this? Ayo. Thanks, Temi. Okay, before Ayomide speaks, I need to highlight some of those things that Temilade has said, which is very, very important. She made reference to other social media platforms like TikTok. Interestingly, because some of us that belong to a particular generation, because we are not adopting this technology, does not necessarily mean that those platforms are not really attracting a whole lot of users from around us.
Hello? 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 Am I the only one?
Okay, sorry. No, I'm back.
Okay.
I don't know how someone got me disconnected, but I'm back. I'm back online. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so yeah. Okay, thanks a lot. So you might think that, oh yeah, the professional environment where you can find people, it's LinkedIn, and then you just want to like remain on LinkedIn, but then you now realize that hold on, please, just a minute. Okay, so yeah, so you might want to think that, oh, I belong to this generation. If you are going to be making advertisement for people within this particular age group, maybe that is where you find them is on LinkedIn, and maybe because me too I'm on LinkedIn, but you'd be surprised that you might have a whole lot of your customers on Instagram, you might have a lot of them on TikTok. I'm going to allow Ayomide to also make his own presentation about the problem we have at hand. We have a new product. The new product is Cool Cafe, and it's a coffee. It's a coffee product. April, please, just a minute. So the product is coffee, and we have this variety of coffee that is that provides some head. It's not just a beverage, but it provides health benefits, such as it increases the energy level of its users. So how do we position ourselves online in order to be able to attract the customers that we want for this product, which are people between age 18 and 25, and who are health conscious, freshly recruited youngsters, or college going students? Ayomide, are you there?
Yes, sir, I'm here.
Please go on.
So if we want to put, if Cool Cafe wants to put themselves out there online or on social medias, I think people, Ekwe and Temilade had said most of it, but I would go with mostly advertisements, yes, on YouTube, because most teenagers spend their time watching videos on YouTube, be it videos on do-it-yourself crafts or something. They spend most of their time on YouTube. So advertisements, if Cool Cafe can position or direct most of their advertisements into YouTube, they could most likely or probably receive traffic into their business from YouTube through YouTube ads. So that's just my own opinion about the entire thing.
Okay, thanks a lot. April, you have some contribution.
Yeah, something else came to mind, when I was listening to every other person's on, that we could also add, that this is the age of this is a period where we hear social media influencers, so maybe like a role model in quotes of who people that these teenagers look up to. We can also add that those people could be like brand ambassadors for the brand of coffee, so imagine, for instance, XYZ is the person's favorite actor, or the best is the person's greatest what's the full meaning of greatest of all time, for instance. So imagine somebody who you hold in high regard advertising a brand. It may influence people in wanting to go for that brand, or somebody who this person is so fit, and I would like to be like this person. So I also think that would also help in pushing the traffic that they want to that age range.
Thanks a lot, April. So I want to recap what everyone has said. So I think everyone agree with the fact that we need to consider going on social media to present this particular product. And I want to use Octave Analytics as an example. So for our DASCA training before now, I think we're doing a lot of campaign on LinkedIn. But funny enough, we just realized that a lot of people are not actually on that platform compared to a place like Instagram. So we now took our campaign to Instagram. So in one of our recent campaigns, we had about 163,000 discoveries of Octave Analytics within a period of 21 days. So the promotion ran for 21 days, and we had 163,000 discoveries. 1.1K unique individual liked the campaign, so they clicked liked on the campaign. 78 individuals saved the campaign. 78 people saved the campaign. And why? When you save that campaign means that you want to go back and reference it. So 78 people reference the campaign. There were 620 unique clicks on the link. So there's a link. If so, say it's a DASCA campaign, for instance, or it's some other kind of campaign, and you need people to go and register on a particular platform. There's a link. 620 people clicked on that link. It's like an indication of the conversion. We had something close to 1,000 website visits. We have something close to 276 profile visits on Instagram, and so on and so forth. Now, unlike before, if you have a TV advert, you cannot tell how many people that saw your TV advert. You cannot tell how many people that saw your billboard. And those TV adverts are very, very expensive. TV advert is very, very expensive. You cannot tell how many people saw your TV advert. You cannot say how many people saw your billboard. But with social media platform, you can go and check the performance of your campaign. You can check the performance of your campaign. Beyond this, we also know the gender of people who saw our campaign. 58% men saw our campaign, 42% females saw the campaign. The people that saw our campaign the most are people between age 25 and age 34, are the people that clicked and interacted with our campaign more than every other person. And then the locations where you saw most people that interacted with our campaign are Lagos State, Oyo State, Kano State, and Federal Capital Territory, which means that if we need to start a branch now, if Octave Analytics needs to start another branch in any other location, we might need to consider Oyo State before we even consider Abuja, or before we consider Rivers State. Those are the insights you can get from using the internet or using social media platform in order to be able to generate your campaign. And it's not only Instagram that provides you this deep level of insight on your campaign. Even Facebook provides the same level of insight. LinkedIn provides the same level of insight. Twitter provides the same level of insight. TikTok also does the same thing. Even Google, you can also advertise on Google. So so the recommendation for you, for your business after now, is that consider taking your campaigns online, because less number of people, in fact, from surveys that we have seen, less number of people now watch TV, and people spend less time. So for people that watch TV, they spend less time watching TV, so you don't even know what people watch, because when they are on TV, maybe they are watching football, or maybe they are watching news, but they spend less time doing all of that. They do that on the internet now. So you might need to consider taking your campaigns to internet. Thank you, everyone. Temilade also mentioned something like knowing the time of the day. So what time of the day do people contact us the most when we do this, our campaign? People contact us the most in the evening from 8 p.m. From 7 p.m., 8 p.m. That is when people contact us the most, and on weekends. So you might also want to hold on your campaign and wait till weekend before you publish your campaign, because that is when you have most people online. So you can check the pattern of how people are interacting with your campaign, and that will help you to decide how to publish your campaign. Then you can also see how much you have spent, for those campaigns. You can pause the campaign, or maybe when you have paid Channel CV to do a campaign for you. If they are charging you 5 million naira, you have paid that 5 million naira. Whether people are watching or whether people are not watching, whether there is light or there is no light, once Channel CV run your campaign, it's all gone. But here you can track your campaign, and you can say cut whenever you think it's no longer generating any value for you. So there are other problems for this particular lab work, but there are stuff that you can read up. That you can read up. The question is there, and that's a suggested solution. But why it's called a suggested solution is that there could be many solutions for some of the problems that are highlighted in that the first lab session. So we are going to put a hold on this. Then we'll now go into some practical stuff that will get you to get your hands dirty. So the second lab work is about practicing Linux and VI command. So today we are going to be practicing Linux and VI command because it's very necessary. When you have to relate with a platform like Hadoop, you will need to have some hands-on experience on an environment like Linux environment. Then also, if time permits us, I'm on page 15 now. On page 15, we're also going to be practicing HDFX command, if time permits us. So let's start with practicing Linux and VI commands. Linux is another. So I was in a class earlier sometime last week, and somebody said that what is Linux? She was an accountant, or she's an accountant, so it's not really a problem for her to ask what is Linux. Linux is another operating system, like the way you have Android phone and you have iOS phone. That is the same way you also have different operating systems. You have Windows operating system, Linux operating system, Mac operating system, you have, and so on and so forth. You have other operating systems. So if you have set up your virtual learning environment, all you just need to do is to go to VMware and launch VMware. So I'm going to be sharing my screen and I'm going to be demonstrating from my screen so that you can see the steps that you need to follow in order to be able to get that done. So I'm sharing the whole of my desktop all over again. Can you see my desktop? Please confirm if you can see my desktop.
Yes, I can.
Okay, so what can you see on my desktop?
Your calendar.
Your calendar.
Okay, great. Okay, so you can see my calendar. So what I did is to launch VMware. VMware. This is the VMware icon. If you have set up the virtual learning environment, you should have the VMware workstation icon somewhere on your desktop or somewhere. You can search for it. If you don't know where it is, you can search for VMware, and then it's going to come up. Then you click on the VMware Workstation Player 12. That is the one that comes with the DASCA virtual learning environment. So click on it, and then you have this environment. If you are there, please let me know if you are there. If you are having difficulty getting it done, also let me know so that I can know how to support you.
I'm there.
Okay, great. So here is it. So this is Temilade. Are you there?
Yes, VMware has just launched, so I'm trying to so I think I have a VMware session open that I started already one time. So I'm trying to launch it.
So if it's not launching, you can actually if it's not launching, you can go to Task Manager and shut it down. So let me go through the process again so that in my page does not appear launched. So you go to VMware, double click VMware Workstation, and then it launches the VMware application. So this is the VMware application launch. This is the image that has the operating system for the DASCA analytics class. This is the image that has the operating system. So you click on the image VMware TBDRC2. You click on Play Virtual Machine. You click on Play Virtual Machine, and then it launches it. So you can see my screen. It's launching VMware now. So for my screen, it's launching the VMware application. Please, someone needs to mute. Someone needs to mute this up. Tell me.
Sorry.
So tell me, please mute your microphone. Yeah. So so it's launching my VMware application, and
To ask, sorry to cut you. My VMware is just hanging. So I think and I tried to close it, but you said we should go to Task Manager, right?
So you can go to Task Manager and search for the VMware application. So here is it. How do you find it? You go to Task Manager. Here's Task Manager. VMware. There should be here is the VMware process. You can right click on it and end the task. So these are the processes. So once you end it, then it's going to free up the application that was launched before so that you can relaunch it. Okay, so if you're on this login page, the username that the user that we are going to be logging in with to is the HD user, and the password is HD user. Okay, so I think my application is still initiating. So some of the icons that need to come. Okay, now the icons are up there. Okay, so I want to expand my screen. I'll close this and okay. So this is my desktop. I hope you can see my desktop. This is my desktop, and we are going to be practicing Linux commands. They are very simple stuff. So please, I need you to have an open mind. So Linux is an operating system, just like you have Windows operating system, you have Mac operating system, and for different operation you need to perform in Linux, there are different commands that are required for you to be able to do this. And why this is important is that it's relevant. You are going to be at some point you are going to be writing R. You are going to be writing R commands. You are going to be writing Hadoop commands. They are all similar to writing Linux commands in some ways. So it's good you learn this foundational command writing skill for those that don't know how to do it. This is extremely very foundational to this course. So so what exactly are we going to be working on today? We are going to be practicing some of those Linux commands, commands like how to change a directory, how to create a tar file, how to find a file, how to print the content of a file, how to change the access permission. So you can create a file and you can say that, oh, I don't want people, I only want a particular set of people to access this file, or maybe people in your group that are the only people you want them to access the file. You want to change the directory, you want to search for a file, or you want to terminate a process. Those are the things that we are going to be considering, and they are all listed on the page 8 of the lab work, of the workbook, page 8 of the workbook. Those are the commands that we are going to be practicing. So in order to be able to get this done, you need an application. That application is called Command Prompt in Windows, but it's called Terminal. It's called Terminal in Linux, and I hope you can see my screen. I'm going to zoom my screen. I'm going to zoom it out so that you can see whatever I'm going to be typing on the screen better. Please confirm if you can see my screen.
I
Yes, sir.
can.
I can see your screen.
Okay, great. So let's start with so this particular command is similar to command prompt CMD. So this is command prompt in Windows. So this black one is the Windows command prompt. This is the Windows one, and this other one here is the Linux one. Now, what are we trying to do, or what have we been able to achieve? Some weeks back, I think last week or the previous week, we talked about virtualization. So what we've been able to achieve here now with VMware, what we've been able to achieve is virtualization. And how does that work? So now you have another operating system on top of my physical machine. So there's a physical machine with Windows operating system, but on top of it, I have another operating system on top of it. And it is possible to have multiple of that VMware sessions running. So I can have like 3 or 4 VMware sessions running on this one single computer. So what it means is that I can turn my one single PC to like maybe 4 different PCs, and then now connect them together into like a cluster. So that is the concept of virtualization. So where the physical layer is abstracted from the applications that are running on top of the physical layer. The physical computer, it's one physical computer, but the operating system and the applications that are running, they are running as if they are separate computers that are independent of each other. So that is exactly what is going on here. So here I have Ubuntu. My operating system is Ubuntu. The user is HD user, but this operating system is a flavor of Linux operating system. And the first command we want to practice this afternoon is to check the present working directory. You might need to write that down. Present working directory. Present working directory. So what this means is, where am I working from? Where am I working from? Hash command is a comment command. So if you type hash command, it's not going to execute it. It's just comment. My present working directory, if I want to determine my present working directory, the command is pwd. Your present working directory is pwd. Some people call it the print working directory. So if I press enter, my present working directory is /home/hd user. So there is the environment, that is a file location where I am. So if I save any file, if I create any file, if I do anything in this particular location, all of that file or element that I create, you are going to find them in /home/hd user. So that looks like something that is very simple. So let's look at how do you change your working directory. So if we want to change if I want to change my working directory, how do I go about it? So in order to change working directory, the command is cd, and cd, I could change to any directory. The root directory, which is like the home, no, let me not call it the home directory, the root directory. So I'll minimize my computer a bit. So here's my desktop. Here's a folder on my desktop. So my C drive, this is my C drive. This is my C drive. So this C drive is like the root directory. Beyond C drive, there's nothing else. There's nothing else beyond C drive. C drive is the home directory. You can have folders after C drive, but before C drive, there is nothing else. The same way in Linux. So the same way in Linux, my root directory is /. Here is /. This is my root directory. So I can do enter. So now I'm now in my root directories, and if I do pwd, if I want to check my present working directory is going to give me slash. This is my root directory. Am I too fast? Am I too fast?
It's okay for me.
Okay.
It's fine.
Am I too fast?
No, it's fine.
Okay. Fatima, am I too fast? We start. Ayomide, am I too fast?
No, sorry, you're fine. It's
Okay,
fine.
thanks. Okay, thanks. So let me just keep on. Thank you. Yeah, so that is the present working directory. So if I want to change my directory to desktop, if I want to change my directory to desktop is okay, yeah. So before I change my directory to desktop, please mute your microphone. Please mute your microphone. Yeah, so if I want to change my directory to where I was before I was on /home/hd user. So if I want to toggle back to where I was before, it's just going to be cd minus. If you do cd minus and enter, it takes you back to where I was before. So I'm back to where I was before. If I want to go back to where I was before was root. Now I'm back to cd/home user. So if you do print working directory, this is what it is. If I want to go back to where I was before I came to /home/ad user, cd minus. So this concept is called absolute. No, it's called relative referencing. It's not absolute referencing. It's called relative referencing. If I want to go back to where I was before, yeah, so this is it. So yes, then what else? If I want to like change to directory, no. If I want to go one directory backward, so I'm on /home/hd user. Just in case I want to go to, let me admit somebody into the class. Okay, so say
Blessing, please.
yeah.
Hello. Sorry, I'm sorry. I want to take you back a bit. I was trying to. My virtual machine wasn't working, so now the screen has loaded, but it's just black. I don't know what I'm supposed to click.
It's black.
Yes.
So you cannot see. Have you loaded your virtual machine?
Yes, I've loaded that VMWCBDR2. Yeah, this same name that you have.
But you don't have a screen where it's asking for username and password.
No.
It simply asks your computer.
Okay.
Can you afford that?
What did you say?
Can you afford to restart your computer?
I just restarted.
Oh, you restarted.
Yes.
Okay, so I think you might need to work on some settings.
Okay.
I can help you to fix that. I can help you to fix that at the end of this class. If I do that now, it could take some time.
That's fine. Thank you.
Okay, so yeah, so if I want to go one directory backward, so I'm on /home/hd/ad user. So I want to go to a directory backward, so that it's like /home. So to do that is going to be cd ... and here is it. If you do pwd, now it's /home. If I want to go forward back to HD user, I can say cd HD user, and then if you do pwd, I'm on /home/ad user. If I want to go to desktop, I'll do cd desktop, and I'm on the desktop. If you do pwd, I'm on the desktop. So simply that is how to navigate. This is quite simple for some people that have already mastered how to do this. It's also available on Windows. If you do see the dot on Windows, this is what comes up. If you do see the dot, this is what comes up, and then you can do CD users, and it goes on and on to the username, and it goes to the desktop, and it's also available in Windows that same way. Yeah, so that is how to change directory and how to print your working directory. So the next I want to test is okay, so I want to check how do you find a file. So maybe there's a particular file on your desktop, maybe it's a CSV file. You want to find all the CSV files that are on your desktop. To find a particular file, or to find, say, a CSV file, for instance, I'm clearing my screen. To find CSV file, what you need to do is, the task is to find a CSV file on the desktop. So it's find where do you want to find it? In this location. The location is desktop. So I want to find in this current location. I want to find by name. And what am I looking for? I'm looking for say anything that has CSV. That's what I'm looking for. So this is what I want to search for. And I do enter. So I think there's no CSV file on the desktop. So let me just look for anything on the desktop. Start. Okay. So let's search for something that has minus name. I think there's something that has M. Let's search for something that has M on the desktop. M star. Oh, okay. So I'll take this again. I'll clear my screen. So I wanted to search for anything that has CSV, but what this is going to search for is just going to search for any file that is named CSV. That is what this is going to search for. But I need a file that is saved as maybe something .csv, or that has CSV attached to it. So I need to put a wide cat star.csv. So it's going to mean anything. This one means anything that has CSV. The one I had before is it must be CSV. This one means it must be CSV. While with a wide cat would mean anything that has the file, what's it called again? The file appendant CSV, something like .csv. So once you click enter, it reported how many files? 1, 2, 3, 4 files. So I have 4 files on this computer that have CSV on this computer's desktop. In this particular directory, the directory is this current directory. This dot means this current directory. So there are 4 files that have CSV on them. So say we want to search on the root directory, all the files that have CSV on the root directory, for instance. So that is going to be this find, then the root directory is // and then you click enter. Yeah, so it keeps searching, and it's searching. There are some directories that I don't have access to. There are some directories that I have access to. So I'm going to stop this. Let me just look for another directory where I have most access. This and
why don't you have access to these directories since they are on your desktop?
Yes, so the username that I logged in with HD user. That username HD user does not have access to everything that is on the root directory. Remember, there are some other users on this computer that are on also the same root directory with me. So you can find, so the way you have cd//home/hd user, you might also have something like /home/temilade user. I will not be able to have access to temilade user. You know, it's only my own home user that I can have access to all of the files that are in it. So now I'm changing this to my own particular home user, and I want to run the command again, and let's see. So with this you can see I have access to
Hello.
I was disconnected for some time, but I think I'm back online. I hope you can see my screen. Can you see my screen?
Yes.
Okay, so yes, so I have access to the following files, but access is also denied to some other files. You can see access is denied to this particular folder. Access is denied to this particular folder, even though they are in my directory. I may not be the person that created those files. So if maybe it's the root user or some other user that have access to my directory that created this file, I may not be able to have access to them. So that is why access is denied to this file. But the ones I have access to weblog, I have access to this project file, I have access to UK clean data, and so on and so forth. So interestingly, so this is how to search for files on your desktop. So maybe you worked on some files some days ago and you can no longer locate the file. This is the way you can easily locate it. So I have a question. I'll check someone that is online. Ayomide, how do I search for, if I'm looking for any file that starts with small letter M on my home/hd user directory. I'm looking for any file that starts with M. I know that I said that file with M, but I cannot tell exactly the name of the file. But I know I saved it with M, so I want to search for all the files on my PC that start with letter M. Letter M, M for mango. What commands do I need to write? What command do I need to write? You can share your screen if you are writing it on your screen, or you can dictate it to me for me to write it here.
Sir, I'm not going to lie, I do not remember. I'm currently having issues with setting up my
Okay, so yeah, but you need to. Okay, so who can help us? Equi, can you help?
Listen, can you take the question again? I know you said something about looking for a file that has M, right?
You got it. Yes, that is the question. Now I need to
Can I put it on the chat?
Yeah, so you want to put it on the chat? You can. Okay, put it on the chat. Let's see it from the chat. Then I'll just type it on my screen.
Okay. I hope I got it right too. Okay, so my system is changing something. So that M is supposed to be find space dot space hyphen name space.
Okay, hold on. Dictate it while I write it. Find yes.
Space the dot sign.
No, I'm not searching for it on the desktop. I'm searching for it on my /home/hd user directory. That's where I'm looking for it.
Oh, okay. Okay, so you can then put the directory where you're looking for it from.
HD user. Okay, this way I'm looking for the file. Okay.
Yes, space hyphen name.
Okay.
Space asterisk. Sorry, open quotes, sorry. Asterisk close the quotes. No, yeah, then close the quotes. I hope it's correct.
So we are searching for file that starts with M, not that has M in it.
Okay, sorry, take out the asterisks and just put M. M asterisk.
Correct. Why is it M asterisk?
Because we want to search for, since it starts with M, any other character after M, like a wild card.
Okay, great. Thank you. So let's see. Okay. Yeah, it's indeed returned some files. So you can see all the files I returned. Mean, aviation, mail, memo, mission control, my test, module, menu bar, modern, and so on and so forth. Map reduce, MongoDB, anything that it returns, my SQL, MongoDB, map reduce, everything that it returns starts with a small letter M. So yes, that's correct. That is actually you got it. So Temilade, I'm searching for a file. That file, I saved that file. That file has aviation in it. That file has aviation, but I don't know, maybe a folder that has aviation. But I don't know, maybe aviation is at the beginning, or maybe aviation is in the middle, or maybe aviation is at the end of it. I just know that when I was saving that file, there was aviation in that file. What command do I need to write in order to find the file?
It will be it will be home /HD user.
No, it's not home. Home is not the command first. What is the first command?
Find.
Find.
You've written find.
Yes.
You've written find instead of find.
Okay, sorry. Find.
Space home.
Home.
HD user /HD user space hyphen name, open quote asterisk, aviation, then asterisk again.
Why?
Because you are saying it should search for the word aviation in any part of the file name.
Thank you very much. So this is correct. So we could only find one, and that is mean aviation. And funny enough, aviation is it's not at the beginning, it's maybe at the end of the name of the file. But really, you need to master how to use that wildcard asterisk, and to know exactly where to place it whenever you are doing your search. This can be very, very useful by the time you start working on your HD user, or by the time you start running some R command where you need to search for some files, or you need to perform some type of operation. Okay, so let's say we want to print the contents of a file. So there's this file here now that Temilade's command returned is mean aviation. That file, you can find it on /home/HD user /desktop/airport. Then you have mean aviation. So if you want to print the content of this file, you want to know what is inside this file. We do that a lot. We use Notepad, or we use what is it called, test pad, to open the content of a file. So how do we do that here? You use the command cat is the name of the command that you use. And so in this case now, we need to print all of this. I need to print all of this and paste it, copy and paste. What is it saying? It's saying it's a directory. Oh wow. So it's a directory. It's not a file. It's not a file. It's a directory. And because it's a directory, you cannot print the content of a directory. It's not a file. So let's look for a file where we can perform cat operation on. So let's go to, so on desktop, if you want to know, so if I want to check the files on my desktop, if I want to check the files on my desktop, the command is list, ls minus al. The command is ls. So this is the command. If you want to check what is on your desktop or what is in a directory, the command is ls. However, it also has several other parameters. It has several other parameters. There is ls. You can have ls minus a. So that is just going to list. It's going to list the folder as well as the directory. You have ls minus al, ls slash al. So that is going to print. It's also going to print additional information like the privileges to the file or the folder, the number of files that are in that folder or in that directory, the user group, the size of the file, the date it was created, the time it was created, and the name of the file or the name of the folder, which is what ls minus al does. You know, if you do ls minus l, it's going to leave the folders and it will just print the file alone. It will leave the root directory and just print like the files alone. So that it's there are several other parameters. So if you want to find more information about ls, you can do help. You can do help then ls. Then it's going to give you more information on ls. Is it man? I think it's man ls. Man ls. It's man ls. It's like a manual for ls. So it's going to show you. So man ls will show you all the different options that you have. So here is the ls, list the directory content. Then you have ls minus a, ls minus capital A. You have ls double slash author, ls slash b, and so on and so forth. And the documentation. So there's a manual, there's a documentation that comes with it. And you know, we programmers, we do a lot of this. At times, you don't even need to know it. You don't need to know it, you know. Just go online and just do a Google search, you know, just do a Google search. And that is something that has helped a lot of us. Like, see, I don't need to know it. Let me just get access to the internet. I will get it done for you, you know. So please leverage that internet. Even if you don't know it, just find a way. At times, you even need to find people. There are people that are ready to share what they have done before on it with you. And there are people that also contact me. There was, I think there was a team with some guys. They were based in the UK. They had a project on churn prediction. They haven't done it before for a telecom company, and I think they died in. And that day, I think I was in a meeting with the rest of my team, and we just had to explain to them how churn prediction is done. You know, they died in from the UK. So you can always also have your content, what you have created, put it out there for people to see. And when you also have a need of something, it's a global world. You can just look for people, and they can help you to get it done. So so this is yeah, so that is the manual. And to quit, I'll just type Q on my keyboard and I quit it. So now so that is list. So with ls minus al, I can find this file. There is this file mm2.csv. Now the challenge you have is to check the content of a file. The command is cat mm2.csv, and then you press enter. Once you press enter, so what is the content of this file mm2? You have Arik, you have Bellevue, you have Octagon, you have First Nation, you have Chachangi, you have Sosoliso, Airpeace. So I think this file has a listing of airlines in Nigeria. That is what is in this file. So you can do the same on your own PC. Just to quickly practice that command. There are more commands. There are more commands that you can always try. You may want to create a directory. You may want to move files. You may want to copy files, and so on and so forth. You must try it. It's very, very important to try it, and they are very, very simple. You cannot spoil your computer because it's even a virtual machine that you are running this on. So even if you spoil it, we can fix it back for you. So don't hesitate to try your hands on some of those commands. So let me try. I want to skip a few stuff. So let's say copy. How do you copy? So let's create a folder. Let's create that folder. What is the name of that folder? The name of that folder is going to be let me see, one client that I'm targeting, that I'm wishing I should get badly. So let's say Chevron. So let's say I want to create a file. I want to make directory. So the next command I want to try is to make directory command. That is on page 12, item number 12, page 12. So make directory is a command, mkdir and chevron. Yeah, chevron. So if I do this, so on desktop, on this particular directory, on this desktop directory, is going to create a folder, and the name of that folder is chevron. Enter. So if you do your ls-al, you are going to see chevron created. Now the next thing I want to do is that chevron. So if you go inside chevron, cd chevron. If you do ls-al, there is nothing inside it. So I go back a bit. I go back again. I do my ls-al. So I'm back on the desktop. Now I want to move this file. Into this chevron folder. No, not move. I want to copy this file and paste it in chevron folder. Some of these things we do them every day. You copy a file and you paste it. Windows have made it so easy that you don't even know what is happening in the background. You just copy and paste. But really, at the back of that window, behind that window screen that is running, at the back, there are lines of code that they have coded, that is that guides everything that you are doing. So in this case, the command is to copy and paste. That is on page 11. Page 11, number 7 on page 11. So it's cp. This is too simple. I know this is too simple for some people. So slash. I want to move it to chevron. So this is it. I want to move it to chevron, and I'll just do my enter. Once I do enter, I've copied it and it's now in chevron. So if I go to cd chevron and I do my ls-al, you see mm2 there. Now I have a task. So let me see who it's online. I have Fatima online. Fatima, I have a task. Temlade, okay, Temlade, you're raising up your hand. I didn't see you. Please go on with your question. Then I'll now give Fatima a task. And the task is she needs to tell me the command to copy this file that is in Chevron. I want to copy from Chevron into a new folder that I'm going to be creating on the root directory. So first of all, you need to create a folder on root directory. You can call that folder Fatima folder. Then you now copy a file, the file from Chevron, and then paste it in the root directory. Temlade, please go on.
Okay. So when you were searching for the file names abbreviation, I gave the command. Please, can you scroll up to the beginning of the screen? Or I think you have cleared your screen. Yes, this. Yes, okay. So if you wanted to search for this file in maybe, okay, so let me rephrase it in my knowledge of Windows. So in Windows, this home/hd user would have been maybe C/Temilade documents or something. So if you want to search, is it possible to search directly in home, under home?
To I to set directly on
Directly under home.
like this.
Yes. So if it's yes, is it possible?
Yes, now. Yes. But you can see this particular user does not have access to. So
Okay.
this WCBD user is another user. He does not have access to this other users slash
Okay.
home slash. So it's like I and you, we are sharing a computer. My own user side is Blessing Oladeji. Yours is Temilade,
Okay.
for instance.
Okay.
You notice that if I even double click on your /c/user/Temilade, it will tell me access denied. So it's the same thing that is happening here. Access is denied, except if that user, Temilade, grant me that express permission. That is the only time I
Okay.
can access it. But you can see the only thing that can be accessed here is /desktop/ this is the only thing that I can access here. So even in HD user, files that are created by, say, other users like the root user on HD user cannot be accessed, and Hadoop user, you cannot even access that one. But things that are created by even other users on my own HD user can also not be accessed. So the only thing I can access here, I can access every other thing, but this is the only place where I found mean aviation.
Okay. Thank you.
You're welcome. So Fatima, back to you. I won't forget you. So I have just a very simple task. I need you to create a folder on the root directory, and then you will now move the content of Chevron into that folder that you have created. Can you help us with that? Is she online? I'm not sure if she's online. Hello, Fatima, are you online? Okay, she's not.
Yes, I'm online.
Okay, so we are waiting for you.
I don't think I can answer that question.
Okay,
Honestly, I
so
can't answer that question.
you need a lot of catch up.
Yes, I need a lot of catch up.
Okay, so Ayomide, how about you? Hello, Ayomide.
So I can't answer the question. I'm sorry,
You-
I can't answer the question.
Okay, so we might need to okay, so we just need to probably set up makeup classes. I need to assign some maybe some mentors to you from the team that can guide you, that can handhold you, because this stuff are actually very quiet. They are very simple. So I need to assign some people to you guys that can assist you. Okay, so
VMware is not even starting up at all anymore. Like it comes up, but I can't I can't use it to do anything. So I've just been listening to the class without being able to practice anything at all.
Okay, I think Temilade too has the same issue. I'll find a way. If you can share your screen at the end of the class, if you can share your screen, I will try and guide you to fix the problem from here. But maybe let's wait till the end of the class, because if I need to do that now, that could take some time, and we might at the end of the day lose most of the time for the class. Okay, so we've done create directory. So the task I asked Fatima to do is to create a directory on the root directory. To create a folder on the root directory. So first you need to navigate to the root directory and then make directory. So let's call it Fatima. Okay, so I think this particular user does not have the permission to modify the root directory. So which means that the assignment that I actually gave you cannot be done on the root directory. So yeah, but really, in case you want to do that somewhere else, is to create directory. So say it's going to be on the desktop. If I need to do that on the desktop, I'm going to cd make dir. No. On the desktop, cd dot. Now I'm on the desktop. You can see this is the desktop. I'm on the desktop. I can see it highlighted here. So make directory mkdir Fatima. So this is Fatima on my desktop. Now Fatima folder is created on the desktop. cd Fatima. Yeah. So now I want to copy the content of Chevron into Fatima. So that is going to be cp. I want to move // Chevron. So everything. So this will mean everything. I actually know the name of the file. It's only one file, but assuming that there are many files in that folder. So this is going to mean move everything that is in Chevron folder and move it to this particular location. It looks not very straightforward, but I can explain all of this. This is move a step backward. This actually means move a step backward. So it's going to move from Fatima to desktop. So from desktop, it will now find Chevron, and in Chevron, everything that is in Chevron, copy it and paste it in this location. Copy and paste it in this location. So here's it. So if you do ls-al, you can find mm2.csv in Fatima folder. Okay, so one last part before we move to VI command. One last part. So for every file that you create in Linux, or for every folder, there are access permissions that are granted to you as a user. And there are three categories of user, or there are three types of user, or there are three user groups. And there are three types of permission that can be granted to these three types of users. You know, it's very simple. There are three types of users, and there are three types of permissions that can be given to one single user. So, so what are those three types of users? Number one is the owner. The owner of that maybe file that's the owner of a file. So for a file, in order to access a file, there are three categories of user. Number one is the owner of the file, or like the creator of the file. You know, the creator of that file is usually the person that has that operating system login access. You know, so in this case, the user here, the owner of anything that we create under HD user, it's is HD user. So everything that we create here, the owner is HD user. That is one category of user. The other category of user are user group. So this user, HD user, in this case, you have HD user. This HD user belongs to a particular user group. So yeah, it belongs to a particular user group. So this, anybody that belongs to that user group is another category of user. So for instance, you can have, if you go to your Windows settings, at times, if you want to create a user on Windows, or Windows will tell you that, do you want to create an administrator? So administrator becomes a user group. Anybody that have an administrator user right will be able to perform some task. So you have that in Windows. So you have the user, you have the user group, then you have other users that don't belong to the same user group. So for instance, in this class, you have me, you have other people that are in this class. Those are people that will belong to the same group. Then you have other people that are not in this class. You know, those are other groups, you know. So those are the three categories of user. You have the owner, then the owner user group, and then the other users that are not in the same user group as the owner. So those are the three categories of user. So each of these different users have different access permission or access privileges to a particular file or a particular folder. And this is very, very important. So that is why in networking, for those that are very conversant with networking, or when you are working on a project, so if you are working on a project, I'll just give an example. So I did a training for the guys in FCMB. I taught them Oracle. They were very excited. But when they go back to their office, they could not practice anything that I taught them. In fact, they could not install on their computer because the only thing they could do is to create file, download file on their computer. But when they want to install, they will tell you that you don't have the access right to install on your computer, that you need to please contact the administrator. So they need to go and contact another user that will be able to install on their own computer. Is they own the PC, but they need to go and contact another user, because at the point their own user was set up, there was some kind of limit, or the kind of operation they can perform on their system was limited. So you understand? So it's actually some of these configurations that determine what a user can do and what a user cannot do. And that's very important. You can create a file as a data analyst and as a data scientist. You are going to be creating files. And in some cases, you just want users to access that file and access the file only. You know, in some cases, you want users to modify the file. You know, in some cases, you just want users to execute the file, but don't modify it. And our customers do that for us. So imagine I'm having a project with First Bank. We do have a project with First Bank. So what First Bank did is that First Bank said, Blessing, you can access Finacle, but the only thing you can do on Finacle is just select. That is the only thing you can perform on Finacle.
Hello, Blessing.
Yeah, go on, please.
Sorry, you've been cracking. I don't know if it's from my end, so I don't know if other people are experiencing the same thing, but it's cracking.
Tell me, is it the same experience?
No, it's not. I was hearing you well.
Okay, so that's my end.
Okay, so I think it's from your side. But do I sound better now?
Yes, you do.
Okay, so okay. I'm trying to regain my thoughts. Okay, so okay, I was talking about the First Bank stuff. So for First Bank, we say, okay, we can only give you select access. So select access means it's a read-only access. We can only make you read. You cannot update. You cannot modify. You will not want somebody to go and spoil your work. You will not want somebody to go and wreak a havoc on your system. So because of that, as a data scientist, even when you are creating some files and you are granting people access to your file, you need to be able to determine the type of access that you are going to be granting to your users. Because after you have done all of the work, if you give access that somebody does not deserve, the guy can just go there and run an update statement, and then he modifies everything that you have done, and you may not even know that the person has modified the file or the data that you have there. So it's very, very important to pay attention to that. Now, three categories of user: the owner, the user group that the owner belongs to, and other user group that the owner does not belong to, you know, or other users that are not in the same user group with the owner of the file. You know, those are the three different user groups. Then there are three categories of permission that you can give. One permission type is so you have the owner, you have the user group, owner user group. You have the owner. This is the owner, or you call it the user. You have the owner user group. Then you have others. You have others. That's one. Then you have three categories of permission. Number one category of permission you can grant is the read permission. Read means that you can read the content of the file. The next one is write. Write means that you can modify the content of the file. Number three is execute. Execute means you can execute the content of the file. So write, execute means you can if it's a program, you can run the program, but you cannot modify the content. You cannot modify the program itself. So which means that for every single so for the owner there are like 8 different combinations. So it's like, yeah, there are 8 different combinations that you can have for a single user. I want to quickly power my laptop so that I don't run out of power. Okay. Yes, is it charging? It's not charging. Okay. Let me check again. Please, just a minute. I want to quickly power my laptop. Okay, so yeah, up NEPA. Okay, so so for this, so for a single user, it's either you can read, or you can write, or you can execute. That is for the owner. For other users that belong to the same user group with the owner, you can read, you can write, you can execute. For other users that don't belong to the same user group as the owner of the file, you can read or write, or you can execute. So now there are different combinations of this access permission that can be granted to a file. So for instance, you can have a situation where where all category can only read and nothing else. You have a situation where all category can only read and nothing else. You have a situation where maybe the owner is the only person that can read, write, and execute, while the other user can only read, and the others can only read, and that is all, and so on and so forth. So you have different combinations. So so in this case, let's go back to our Fatima example. Let's do ls minus al. So for ls minus al, let's look at this file. The name of this file is mm2.csv. I'll clear my screen and I will run that command. So for ls minus al, zoom in and zoom in. So for this particular user, what is the access right that you have here? So look at this. I'm going to interpret what you have in here. So this means, so for this means that this D means it's a directory. RWS means that you can read, this user can read the content of that directory, can write the content of that directory, and execute the content of that directory. What this means is that other users that belong to the same user group as HD user, can read the content of this directory and execute the content of this directory, but they cannot write to this directory. And this means that other users that don't even belong to the same user group as say the user can read the content of this directory, they cannot write the content of this directory, and they cannot execute the content of this directory. That is the access that has. But that is for a folder and it's for a directory. Let's look at this file that we have here. So for this file that we have here, you have the owner of this file can read and write to this file but cannot execute. So they cannot execute. Other users can read, they cannot write, they cannot execute. Other users can read, they cannot write, they cannot execute. So that is the meaning of this access. This is the access permission configuration for this particular file, but it's modifiable. The owner of the file can actually come and modify it. Now I want to modify it, and the way I want to do it is that I want the owner of this file to be able to read it, to be able to write it, and to be able to execute it. But then it's going to revoke all kinds of access from other users. Others will not be able to read or write or execute it. So for me to be able to run that command, the command I need to run is change mod, change the mode of this command, minus R, minus R is the parameter. And the access I want to grant it is, I want it to be able to read and write and execute. So if you look at that table that is on page number 11, if you look at that table on page number 11, to read, write, and execute, the command is the permission number is 7. To read, write, and execute is 7. And the owner, so I'm assigning 7 to the owner. I'm assigning 0 to other users in the same user group as the owner, and I'm assigning 0 to other users that are not in the same group as the owner. And then I will click on the file name. What is the file name? mm2.csv, and I click enter. So that command is run. If I decide to check the new configuration, in this new configuration, you can see that this is now an executable file. You can see the color of the file has changed, but it's only the user, the owner, HD user, that can actually read and write and execute it, while every other user have no access to this particular file. Now, I have an assignment for you. Not assignment, you are going to do it here. I want to make this file only, so now I want to grant access to other users in the same user group to be able to execute this file only. I want other user in the same user group as HD user to be able to execute this file only, while HD user will be able to read and write the file only. What is the command that I need to run? I need someone to help me. Is the question not clear? I'm going to call someone. I'm going to call Equi to help us with that.
Blessing, did you call me?
Yes, you're not paying attention.
Please take the question again. You know, I told you the thing is still cracking from my ends, but just take the question again. I'm following though, but I didn't get the full question.
Okay, so the question is simple. I want to modify the access permission to this particular file. Now I want the owner of this file to be able to only read and write this file, but the other users in the same group with it will be able to only execute the file and nothing else. Is that clear?
So so it will be change mode, CHMOD. hyphen R says 611.
611. 11.
Yeah, then the name of the file.
Is that correct?
I don't know. The only permission I know about is 7 that you just mentioned. I don't know. I'm not reading the manual at the moment, so I don't know.
Okay, so she got everything apart from only one part. The only part that she did not get is only the user that is in the same group with the owner that should have that execute command. So it's going to be 610. Other users should not have the execute command. So in this case, what she has done is going to be RW hyphen X X. But what I want is RW X, then hyphen. That is what I want. You get
so that should be 610.
Correct, it's 610.
Sorry, the thing was cracking. I just basically jammed whatever I thought I had.
Okay, nice one. So let's see. So this is it. So this is it. So what this means is that HD user, this is AD user, will be able to read and write this file. HD user belongs to Hadoop user group. It means every user in this Hadoop user group will be able to just execute this file, and any other person that does not belong to this Hadoop user group and there's also not AD user will not be able to read the file or write the file or to execute the file. Okay, so thank you. Please feel free to read the material.
Please, I wanted to ask, what does execute mean? So I understand execute when you're talking about maybe a database file, but for a file like this mm2.cv, what does execute mean?
No, so for this file may not probably have execute functionality. This file may not have execute functionality, but there are some files that have execute functionality, like a file that ends with exe, a file that ends with exe, or a file that ends with .batch. A file that ends with .batch, those files are executable, the executable file. This particular file is not an executable file, so it will not make a good example for that. I think when we get to the point where we need to run, so I can create a batch file. If I create a file now and I make it .b8, I'm going to demonstrate that. So just remind me to create an executable file, but this is not an executable file. I'll create an executable file, and you're going to see how the executable file, how it runs later on. Remind me. Do you get that?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so there are a few other things I will need you to get done by yourself. How to delete a file, how to move a file. What we have done is to copy a file from one folder to another. How to move a file, how to find more information about a file. I think we discussed that with man command. How to kill a process that is running. How to list the content of a file. We did a lot of that. How to search the content of a file. We search for a file. So we search for a file that has aviation in it, or a file that starts with M. But you may want to search for the content of a file. So whether a file has, say, Arik inside it, or maybe the content has blessing written inside it, you may want to search for all of that. You may want to change the owner of a file. So the owner of this file now, it's an HD user. You may want to assign another user as the owner of that file. All of that, please read them up. It's your material. we are going to start something else, but I'm sure that the time is not going to permit us to finish this, and we are going to finish it tomorrow. So how do we create like a test file? So you want to create a test file. So we say we want to create a file that has a listing. We want to create a listing of everybody in this class this evening. We want to create a file that lists everybody that is in this file. So that is going to take us to performing VI command. So let's start with VI command. So I'll go back to my desktop, cd.docs, and I'll clear my screen. So VI command is it's like VI command is like the command you use to create a test file. Say you want to create a file, you want to create a notepad file, a CSV file, you want to create a file. VI command is that tool. VI is a tool that you use in creating such type of files. So now let's look at how it works. Let's look at how it works. So I want to create a file that has the name of everybody in this class. I'll just do VI class attendance. So here it is. And maybe it's a TST file, TST. That is the type of file. It could also be a CSV file. I press enter. Once I press enter, it has actually opened the file. Now the next thing I want to do is to now start creating the names of people in the class. So for me to do this, I need to first of all enter what they call insert mode. Without insert mode, if I'm typing, so now I'm typing on my keyboard. I'm typing on my keyboard. I'm typing on my keyboard. So I think I've typed something. So that is why what I've typed on my keyboard, that is why it appeared. But before now, nothing was appearing on my keyboard, you know. So it's because I have gone to click I on my keyboard. That's why it's now appearing. A few things are now appearing on my keyboard. So if you can also attempt that at home, when you do VI and you specify the name of the file, once you click enter and you type on the keyboard, you just realize that nothing is typing until you type I on your keyboard, then you see things appear. So that I is the insert mode. I is insert mode. It means that VI is now ready to start accepting commands, or it starts accepting keystrokes. So listing the names of people in this class. So I'll start with Equi. You have Equi. Enter. You have Temilade in no particular order. You have Fatima. You have Blessing. You have Ayomide. Yeah, so these are the names of people in this class. So I finished typing. I now want to save this file. If I want to save this file, you press escape on your keyboard. So I've done escape on my keyboard. Then I want to save it. I'll type :WQ, :WQ, and I do enter. The file is created. So when you do cat, when you want to check the content of your file, cat.class attendance. When you do this, the file is created. When you do your ls-al, you now have class attendance.txt. Is it not simple?
I'm just wondering why we have to do all this when you can simply go to Notepad and type.
Yes,
and save as text.
Yeah, so you need to know what, so you can come to desktop and just come here and say anything .txt. You can actually do this, and then you come here and then you type the same thing. Yes, you can actually do that. But you are being groomed as a super user. You are not being trained as an ordinary user. So this training is meant to make you an expert in this, because at some point, when you start managing like a Hadoop environment, or when you start writing R command, or when you start writing maybe Hive command, you are not going to be using Notepad to write it. You are going to be writing it in something that looks like terminal, that looks like command prompt. So it's good you also master how that is done. But really, that this will make you appreciate what Bill Gates actually did for the world. You know, Bill Gates actually made life a lot easy. If Bill Gates hadn't done this, that's how all of us would have been programming today. You know, but he now created Windows environment. Click here and there, click, right click, drag and drop around some of those commands. So that now made it a lot easy. But really, that's how to create a test file um, from VI, using the VI tool. We are going to continue with this tomorrow. I think tomorrow I'm going to touch more on this. I'll start with this tomorrow before we now go to practicing HDFS command. So tomorrow we'll talk about HDFS command. Then we'll now go back again to the Hadoop framework, where we are going to go and talk about Hive, HBase, Scoop, Zookeeper, and those other components that make up the Hadoop ecosystem. I think you have had enough for today. I hope to see you by 2 p.m. tomorrow. By the grace of God, please enjoy the rest of your weekend. For those that have issues with their PC, please be on standby. I would like you to share your screen so that I'll be able to help you to fix those issues, so that you'll be able to follow the class if you are not going to be physically present tomorrow at our location here in Yaba. And if you have any question, please feel free to ask me your question. Thank you.
Thank you, Blessing. I'm on standby when you're ready.
Thank you.
Okay. Ayomide, are you around too? Hello, Ayomide. Okay, so Temilade, please share your screen. Tell me, are you sharing your screen?
Yes, I'm sharing my screen.
Okay.
Can you see my screen?
It's coming up. I've not seen it yet. Okay, so can you close VMware? Power off. Okay, so restart VMware. VMware is
Yeah,
still
the screen, yes, is still open.
Oh yeah, go to Task Manager and shut it down.
Sorry, I'm late. My Wi-Fi went off.
Okay, so the class has ended actually, but I want to fix the issue you have with your with your VMware.
All right. Oh my God.
Maybe I need to run it as administrator before it works.
It does not matter, but let's go. Yeah, yeah, you can go as administrator.
Okay, then the second one, right?
Hold on,
This,
yeah. Just click on top of it. One click. Yes. Go to
okay.
edit virtual machine settings.
Where,
Edit
okay,
the last stop there.
okay.
So let's see your display. Your display. Click on
Also
display.
detect.
Okay, so specify monitor setting. Yes. So click on right click. No, not that. No, come to where you have 2500. Specify monitor setting. Then where you have exactly, go to that drop down by your right hand side. Select 11021.796. Let's see that. Or the one after it.
10,
1028 1280 exactly.
this
1280.
one.
Yes, yeah, that one. Click
Okay,
OK.
okay.
Then restart. Play virtual machine. Fail to get exclusive lock on configuration. Another VMware session is running. Do you want to restart?
Okay, okay.
So,
Let me restart and come back.
So Ayomide, share your screen. Let's see while Temilade restarts.
Okay, so how do I share my screen?
Okay,
So how do I share my screen, sir?
So to share your screen, beside your microphone, where you have your microphone, the next icon to the right is share screen. Are you using your mobile phone or you are using your laptop?
No, I've seen it. I've seen it. Open share tray.
Yes.
So okay. I don't. Okay. Yeah, share. So I'm sharing my screen now, sir.
Okay, no wahala.
So the problem with the virtual machine is once I click to open, it does not open. Like
So that's what we want to fix.
so to say something like this. That the virtual machine is that the virtual machine is appears to be in use. And if I say take ownership, it doesn't load up, it doesn't open.
Temilade just had that issue now. So I want you to restart your computer, restart your PC.
My
Restart
PC.
your PC and let's try it again.
Oh, okay, sir. Let me restart it then.
So Temi, share your screen. Temilade, over to you. Hello, Temi, are you there?
Yes, Blessing, I'm here. My system just started. My system
Okay.
just finished booting. So I want to start Teams on my system and VMware at the same time.
It
I'm
will
using
work.
my phone for Teams.
It's up.
Okay, I'll check it. Hi, Blessing. So there's a strange screen showing on my PC. I'm suspecting that it is okay. I'm coming. So I can. Do you want me to share my screen again?
Can you log in now?
Yeah. Yes, I've clicked on play this time, and it's okay. I can see the purple screen, and then the purple screen went off. So okay, there's a black screen coming off, like you know the way all those
Like your PC
geeky.
is starting, like your PC is starting as we speak.
Yes, yes.
So that means it's working. Just wait another 1 minute. Let's see how it is.
Okay. Okay, so it has yes, that Ubuntu Salam. It has asked for password.
Correct. So that is fixed. So I
What's
hope
the password?
HD
HD
user.
okay. Finally.
Abuse.
Okay. So when it loads, okay. So okay. Thank you. Thank you very much.
So you can now practice everything we have done.
Yes. So I'm going to ask. Okay, my terminal is there. Yes. Thank you. Thank you very much.
Okay,
Yes.
no, I see you.
All right.